And greetings gamers, and welcome back to the Lone Wolf series, Book 4, Chasm of Doom. We left off on page 200 of the book, where we had just escaped from, quick summary of the events thus far. We were sent to, I believe, Ruanon, that was it, to, by the king, who basically, didn't hear from them or something like that, or sent troops who never came back. So of course he sends his top man, that is ours, the Kai Lord, to investigate. We came down here with a bunch of men. They're all dead or gone now. And yeah, we encountered a mine. We were in a mine shaft, a mine even, and we managed to get out of there thanks to someone helping us out. So now we continue. The trees are alive with bandit patrols, but your quick wits and Kai skills prevent you from being seen by them. Eventually, you reach the edge of the copse. You find yourself staring out across an expanse of open plain towards Ruanon. The sight that lies before you is very disquieting. Much of the mining town has been burnt to the ground. The blackened ruins of what were once shops, cottages, and taverns are now little more than smouldering mounds of charcoal. You're beginning to fear the worst, that Ruanon has been totally destroyed, when a gentle breeze clears the haze of wood smoke, hanging like a grey curtain over the ruins. Inside the perimeter of ruined buildings, a barricade has been thrown up around a tower of stone. Above the tower, a tattered flag still flies, bringing renewed hope. It is the sun flag of Summerland, edged with a band of white braid, the cavalry standard of the King's Guard Regiment. The very Guard Regiment that went missing. The sudden crack of a twig makes you freeze. You glance behind to see 3 bandits creeping through the trees towards you. The wide steel tips of their spears glint. They seem to be coated with a clear, sticky fluid. If you possess the Kai discipline of hunting, or you have ever visited a corn grove, turn to page 45. Apparently I have visited a corn grove because, as can be seen here, we do not possess the Kai discipline of hunting. In fact, that's the one thing we're missing, I think, at this stage. I think, but maybe not. I forget how many books there are in the series. You recognize the Naldun sap dripping from the spears. It is a deadly poison. You dare not risk engaging in combat with these bandits, for the merest graze from one of their tainted weapons could be fatal. Leaping to your feet, you race away from the trees and run towards Ruanon. From all along the forest edge, groups of bandits emerge from the trees, whipped and scolded by their bullying sergeants for allowing you to escape. This spurs you to quicken your pace, and you cover the first 100 yards with ease. Then arrows begin to fall around you. You duck and weave, making yourself a difficult target for the archers, and gradually the falling shafts dwindle in number. You smile at their futile attempts to stop you, but your confidence is soon shaken by a pack of snarling warhounds, breaking out of the woods to your right. They are off the leash, and hungry for blood. You are less than 500 yards from Ruanon, but the warhounds are closing in. If you wish to quicken your pace and try to outrun them, turn to page 235. If you wish to stop and fight them, turn to page 36. Let me think. If I continue to run 500 yards, that is quite a distance to run away from a dog. I've seen police shows. I know how fast dogs go. That being said, stopping to fight these dogs, probably not the best idea, considering I don't know how many there are. I mean, if there's a pack, and they're warhounds, so they're obviously trained for this type of thing. But more importantly, it would allow the other archers to get time to shoot me. So we're just gonna run. You try to ignore your aching legs and the fear that knots your stomach by forcing your concentration on the sun flag, a fluttering symbol of hope in the distance. Your face is streaked with sweat, and your lungs feel as though they will burst, but you dare not slacken your pace. The thought of warhound fangs closing and tugging on your skin is all you need to drive you forward. At 400 yards, you can see that the barricade and watchtower are inhabited, but at this distance, the faces you can see are only a line of small pink dots on the walls. At 300 yards, you run into some gruesome remains where the corpses of bandits lie twisted on the ground, most killed by arrows. Many have lain in the open for weeks. A flock of startled carrion crows rise, shrieking from their feast as you race through the bodies. You turn away in disgust. Suddenly, a new sound drifts across the plain, the sound of cheering. The beleaguered defenders have spotted you and recognize your green Kai cloak. 200 yards to go. You have just passed the ruins of a burnt-out cottage when you feel an agonizing pain tear through your left thigh. An arrow has pierced your leg, and you pitch forward into the mud and ash. Crouched in the ruined cottage, a bandit sniper raises his bow and takes careful aim at your head. Will this be an insta-kill? Probably. An arrow hisses overhead. A scream of agony fills the air. The bow slips from the archer's fingers as he sinks to his knees. The arrow lodged deep between his startled eyes. The clang of fangs and the soft, swift pad of stealthy feet tell you that the warhounds are closing in. You look up to see a man running towards you from the barricade. He has a shield in one hand and a longbow in the other. It is the guard captain Duval. He reaches you, breathless from his run, and draws an arrow from his quiver. Duval aims and fires, drawing another arrow from his quiver. As soon as the first is loosed, the warhound tumbles and crashed to the ground around you, felled by Duval's deadly shafts. 8 lie dead before his quiver is empty. Damn, fucking Legolas over here. The captain grabs you by the arm and, swinging you over his shoulder in one swift motion, carries you back towards the barricade. Others run forward to help you, but the bandit archers are now in range, and your men are forced back by a hail of arrows. The red shafts of the enemy whistle past on all sides. You reach the barricade. A wagon is pulled aside, and you are carried in through the gap. Captain Duval is close to exhaustion. He staggers, and his men rush to catch him before he drops to the ground. Well, this guy, we obviously, we owe this guy a shit ton right now. Fucking saved our lives. A circle of unshaven faces are staring down at you. A soldier cradles your leg, as another snaps the shaft buried deeply in your thigh. But before you can even cry out in pain, he has drawn the arrow from your leg with one swift tug. "You are very lucky, Kai Lord," he says as he bandages a handful of lamb spur to your aching limb. "The wound is clean, and the bleeding is but slight. You lose 4 endurance points, but the soldier's quick thinking and skill has saved your leg from infection. With great care, the soldiers carry both you and Captain Duval into the stone tower." So, this will heal. See, it's already started to heal. "I was hoping the king would send a large search party," says Captain Duval wryly, now having fully recovered from his exhaustion. "I was beginning to tire of this town." You rise from your straw bed and offer your thanks to the captain. His brave and timely action saved you from certain death. "'Tis nothing to compare with you, Lone Wolf. Your bravery is legend. Your presence here is worth 100 men." He asks you about your mission, and you recount the events that have led you to this meeting. The ride south, the loss of your company, your passage through the Macon mines, and the bandits. "Yes, the bandits, Baraka's men," retorts Duval, his gruff voice conveying his contempt for them and their leader. "Seems you have both suffered at his hand. A month ago, he and his Vasagonian renegades ambushed my troop on the Roanoke Pike. We were sorely outnumbered, and the fight was indeed bitter, but we broke free from them and escaped here to Roanoke. We have been beleaguered ever since, and praying for help to arrive. We have enough weapons to resist them, but we have barely enough food and water to survive." I wonder if these ones are everywhere. I don't know. You ask what has become of the people of Roanoke. "Most are now slaves. Baraka has taken the mines, and he uses the Rouenese as forced labor. Other than yourself, only one man has escaped from the mines and survived the warhounds and the bandit snipers. That man is Baron Oren Vanderlund. Come, I shall take you to him." The wall leads you to the topmost chamber of the watchtower and pushes open an iron-shod door. The sight that greets you fills your heart with sorrow and pity. Oren Vanderlund is the 15th Baron of Roanoke, a noble warrior of royal lineage, and 5th in succession to the throne of Summerland. 5th? That's not bad, considering. This once proud and chivalrous warlord now lies upon the cold stone floor of the chamber, red-eyed and whimpering like a frightened dog. "He has lost everything," says Duval quietly. "Baraka has destroyed his castle, his land, his town, and his family. His sons are dead, and his only daughter has been taken captive by Baraka himself. I fear the ordeal has turned his mind." Eesh, that's... yeah, that would do it. The pathetic man raises his tear-stained face and with feeble voice mutters a curious rhyme over and over again. "When a fair royal maid on the altar dies,
The dead of Gorge shall rise.
We do possess the scroll. As you unfurl the scroll and begin to read its ominous contents, the Baron struggles to his feet. Word for word, he echoes the prophetic verse.
When the full moon shines o'er the temple deep, a sacrifice will stir from sleep the legions of a long-forgotten lord. When a fair royal maid on the altar dies, the dead of Gorge shall rise to claim their long-awaited reward. You must save her, Lone Wolf. You must prevent the sacrifice.
The Baron's voice is choked with emotion.
Save who? Who must we save? Questions Captain Duval as he tries to calm the distressed Baron.
My daughter, Madeline. Baraka has found the dagger of Vashnar. He plans to sacrifice my daughter upon the altar of Macken to release the undead of Gorge.
The Baron explains that during the Age of the Black Moon, King Ulnar of Sommerlung killed the mightiest of all the Dark Lords, Vashnar, with the Summer Sword itself, the Sword of the Sun. His body and the bodies of all his soldiers were hurled into the bottomless abyss of Gorge.
He plans to lead the dead to victory, first to conquer Sommerlund, and then all of the last lands,
he says in despair. You stare at the Baron in stunned silence. If Baraka completes the sacrifice, all is lost. What mortal army can stand against a legion of the dead? Captain Duval ushers you from the chamber and closes their door. I feared he was insane, but your scroll confirms my worst nightmare. He speaks the truth. As the dreadful significance of the verse begins to sink in, your thoughts are broken by the shrill blast of a war horn. Captain Duval strides over to an arrow slit and peers out across the plain. As he turns to speak, you notice that his face is ashen grey.
The bandits! They're launching an attack!
We do possess Captain Duval's sword. We picked it up during that thing. Very nice of us, I think. And there you go. You draw the sword and offer it to the captain. A look of surprise and delight crosses his face as he examines the blade.
I never expected to see my trusty steel again. 'Tis a good omen for the battle ahead.
Thanking you, the captain sheathes his sword and its scabbard, until now has hung empty. I hope that means that he, if I didn't have the sword, he might have died, because he didn't have a sword. I'm glad. If this means he stays alive, I'll be very happy about it. Okay, I already have another sword equipped though, so this is fine. Now looking back, I still have my shield, my padded leather waistcoat, the silver helmet, which I got from Calt, I think. If my memory serves me right, I forget why I got this. It is a unique item though, has to be said. And the chamber waistcoat. I basically have all the defensive items, which is why I'm fucking Captain Badass over here with my 35 combat skill. I'm not immortal though. Don't think that. Strong, hard to beat, but not immortal. Just, you know, normal people will probably have a hard time taking me down. You follow Captain Duval as he hurries down the broad watchtower, steps out of the barricade. A rolling sound like distant thunder fills the air. Cavalry are pouring onto the plain from all sides, grouping up into battalions in preparation for the advance. Columns of foot soldiers bright in scarlet armor march throughout their ranks, herding a frightened wall of people before them.
"They're Ruinese!" cries Duval, his hands shielding the light from his eyes. "That cur Baraka is using them as a shield."
All around you, the captain's men have drawn their bowstrings, awaiting his signal to fire, but it is an order he dare not give. Suddenly a hidden catapult hurls a massive black rock through the air, straight towards the barricade. You stare in horror as it bursts into flame and disintegrates, showering a rain of blazing oil on everyone beneath. The soldiers cannot evade the deluge, and many are badly burnt before the flames are smothered. A battle cry resounds from the enemy ranks, the signal to attack. The Ruinese are pushed aside and trampled by the onrush of scarlet warriors, who now race towards the barricade. Yeesh. That's a face, yeah, that's not nice. The blazing oil has scattered Duval's men and the barricade is poorly defended. You hear Duval shout your name, his cloak and tunic are ablaze, and he is screaming for your help. We have, in fact, reached the high rank of Warman, which is you can only get this rank if you basically have read, I should say, every single book up to this point. You must rally the defenders or all is lost. You order 2 soldiers to help the captain and then leap on an overturned wagon in order to see clearly the enemy advance. They have already reached the ruined perimeter of Ruanon and are now creeping forward under cover of the broken cottage walls. You shout orders to Duval's men to defend the barricade, but the enemy are less than 100 yards from the wall. You're afraid it might be too late to repel their attack. So basically this means I have, like, the balls to step up and take charge, I guess. Interesting. The Macedonian bandits break cover and charge, and you give the order to fire. A cloud of arrows sweeps down upon the armor-clad men, the hardened tips penetrating their scarlet plate. The first wave of assailants tumbles and falls. The second wave falters. Another volley forces them back, and they retreat to the ruins to reorganize themselves. Here and there, groups of bandit warriors have survived the hell of death and reached the barricade. Most are slain as they try to enter, but a small determined section of their boldest fighters have broken through to close to where you stand. Suddenly a thick-bodied warrior with oily black hair tied in a knot at the back of his scarred head leaps onto the wagon and attacks you. You can evade combat at any time by jumping from the wagon. Why would I evade combat? Like, my combat skill without any bonuses should be good enough. When you had dual wielding, somersault, yeah. It's 4, which means he takes minus 18 health. Fight him again. Luckily it doesn't count all the bonuses again. You remember that? 7. And we kill him instantly. Tvar runs past the wagon, leading a dozen of his best swordsmen in a countercharge and driving the enemy all the way back to the barricade. None escape alive. Those who survive Tvar's swordsmen are cut down on the plain by his archers as they run towards the ruins. The shout of victory has barely died away before you are faced by a new threat. A mantlet, a large shield on wheels, is being pushed slowly across the body-strewn battleground towards the barricade. Arrow shafts soon bristle from its thick wooden planks as the Val's men fire their bows time and time again in an attempt to hit the shielded foe. Clever girl. Suddenly, a robed figure darts from behind the mantlet and levels a black staff at the barricade. He is cut down by an arrow, but not before he has let loose from his staff a guttering ball of flame. They're fucking wizards? Shit. He cartwheels across the plain and explodes with a tremendous roar, hurling the bodies of defenders and shattered barricade high into the air. Through the cloud of dust and debris, you can see a line of enemy cavalry charging across the plain. They wear tall, plumed helmets of polished steel and breastplates of deepest crimson. In the wake of the fireball, they pour through the remains of the barricade and attack. They give no quarter. A horseman spurs his horse towards you, his lance levelled at your chest. If you wish to stand and fight the horseman, turn to page 333. If you wish to run back, no retreat. We fucking attack this guy. The horseman is charging at you very quickly. You will only be able to fight for 1 round of combat before his momentum of his attack carries him past you. I got that, my dual wield, the somersault, which is fucking badass, the shield +2. Without the somersault, I don't know how you expect to win the game. Honestly, it's just one of those weapons that is insanely useful throughout the series. Ooh, only 3. That might not be enough. See, I did get hurt. I hurt him more. But, you know, he did graze me. Had I rolled like a 0 or 1, that could have gone very badly for me. Yet the enemy lost more health than I did. Your blow has unhorsed the bandit. He falls to the ground heavily, shattering his lance beneath him. He staggers to his feet, and raising the hinged eye shield of his helm, he stares at you and smiles wickedly, exposing a jagged line of blackened teeth. He spits his battle cry and runs towards you, unsheathing a broadsword as he closes in. Yeah, I'll fucking kill him. Shit. All of a sudden he's healed though. That's kind of bullshit, not gonna lie. Now, dual wielding is something that fans of the series debate that you shouldn't be able to do, because you should be, you know, either dual wielding 2 weapons or, you know, you have a shield. so the bonus would be the same, as it were. But people basically, since there's no like official ruling on it, and that the later novels basically the enemies are so strong that it's expected that you are dual wielding. I'm just, I set it so I'm dual wielding already. It's just one of those things where, I have to set the rules I'm going to play by for all the books, so I just set it that way. And that's how it works. You run half crouched to the barricade and prise a bow from the hand of a dead soldier. You have spotted the leader of the bandit cavalry, a tall, dark-skinned warrior with a thin, chiseled nose, rallying his horsemen at the foot of the stone watchtower. You know you must kill him before he can regroup his troops, or the Varl and his hard-pressed men will be ridden down and mercilessly slaughtered. Yeah, fucking Mongol horde, looking like. You notch an arrow and draw back the bowstring. The straining cord bites into your fingers as you take aim. Do I actually have a bow? I don't, do I? Interesting. Not in my backpack, right? I have 2 keys, a whip, a flask of holy water, a rope which takes 2 slots, and a potion to heal myself. And, 26 gold coins. Random number time! Will I miss completely? Maybe? Oh, didn't I roll a 6? Why did this... Oh, did I misread it? Anyway. Apparently it's turned to section 39. The arrow arcs through the smoke and black sky and pierces the officer's shining breastplate. You hear his scream of pain ring out above the din of the battle, and watch as his cruel eyes flicker and close. He swoons and slips from his saddle, your arrow lodged deep in his heart. Damn! Not a headshot, but it'll do. To me! To me! Captain Duvall's voice booms out above the battle noise. Ready to me, Somlandung! The brave captain draws about him a shielded wedge of soldiers and charges into the flanks of the horsemen. They reel and buckle as the shield wedges hews its way through the company. A Macedonian herald, his crimson armor torn and his face smeared with blood, breaks free from the battle and sounds a retreat. You watch as the surviving bandits spur their mounts to gallop, desperate to escape through the ragged hole in the barricade. Gripped by panic and fatigue, they ride through their own foot soldiers, who are advancing to support them. The infantry falter and collapse as the cavalry ride them down. My bad. Scorpion. Captain Duval leads his men to the barricade and directs a lethal volley of arrows into the shattered infantry. It is the last straw. They throw down their weapons and flee from the clouds of arrows raining down on them from out of the smoke-filled sky. A battle cry proud and strident pursues them across the plain. For Sommerlund! For Sommerlund! All around the barricade the enemy are retreating in disorder. Bandit war horns announce the withdrawal, exhorting their defeated warriors to flee the battlefield. A jubilant Captain Duval emerges from the war smoke, his eyes shining like jewels beneath the rim of his battered helmet. We have triumphed, Lone Wolf. We have vanquished the foe. All around you the captain's men are rebuilding the barricade and tending to their wounded comrades. It sorrows you to see Somlington dead, but you take heart at how few they are beside the enemy's losses. The captain ushers you to the watchtower, where your wounds are cleaned and dressed with lemon-sport. The herbs restores... 6. I'm fine, but thanks anyway. We have beaten this foe, but I fear that it is but a temporary reprieve, says the captain, his face now composed and somber. The sacrifice of Baron Vadalun's daughter must be stopped if we are to avoid catastrophe, for our strength will not avail us against the foe freshly risen from the grave.
The dark fire will not avail you, flame of Undun!
The words of the verse flood into your mind and a chill runs down your spine as you realize what may lie ahead. In 3 days' time, when the moon is full, Baraka will sacrifice the Baron's daughter at the buried temple of Macon, a sacrifice that will unleash the dead of Macon Gorge. Macon? I need to decide how I'm going to pronounce that. It's Macon Gorge. The Chasm of Doom. You know you must prevent the sacrifice. 50 miles south of Ronon, the ruined city of Macon teeters on the brink of Macon Gorge. A cold sweat breaks out upon your brow as you contemplate the difficulty of your mission, for you are separated from your goal by 50 miles of enemy-held territory, but there is still a flicker of hope. With the enemy in confusion and retreat, your chances of success will be far higher now than before the battle.
Before you set off on your perilous mission, Captain Val offers you the choice of equipment. So we already have a backpack, so we can't take another one. We already have rope, but if this one is a rope that takes only one slot, and it is, I'm thinking we drop this one now, because we have one that does that. It's a rope, so you can't tell me I don't have one. 50 miles, I'll probably need at least one meal. Just in case. I already have one thing to heal me, though. I don't think I need another. I already have a sword. I could take another one, I suppose. Just in case. Yeah. If you're wondering why the somersault doesn't count in the sword thing here, is because it's counted as a special item and therefore doesn't take any slots in the actual weapons. You're allowed to equip 2 weapons that aren't special items. This way it avoids you from like having to discard a bunch of stuff, which is handy. Yeah, somersault. It's looking badass, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so that's that. And I guess I'll take another meal actually, because I already have 1 potion to heal myself. It's +5. I mean, if I'm hurt that badly, something's gone wrong. Make the necessary adjustments to your action chart before turning to page 140. So it looks like we're going towards the endgame, although I could get rid of a key. That being said, I'd rather keep it for now. Holy water, I'd rather keep. A whip. Yeah, a whip. I might need to Indiana Jones something at one point. Dust soon enshrouds the beleaguered outpost of Rodon, as you use the cover of darkness to cross the body-strewn plain towards the south, and an old highway trails off to Macon, but it is choked with the Vesagonian warriors. I did it again, didn't I? I have to call it Macon, I don't know why. I guess it's Make, just with 2 A's, that's why it's... They stand about in sullen groups, tending their wounded and brooding on their defeated. However, even demoralized and dejected, they are still a deadly foe. It will be too dangerous to risk passing through their ranks, so you must use the forest to conceal your passage. If you wish to venture through the trees to the right of the highway, turn to page 70. If you wish to pass through the trees, turn left. Without knowing one way or the other, I'll just choose right. Your passage through the trees is lit by the flickering glow of the campfires that line the highway. Bandit warriors huddle round, drawing warmth and comfort from their flames. They take little interest in their guard duties, and you find it easy to avoid their patrols. By morning, you have reached the edge of the forest. You stare out across the fields of crops towards a small village that lies at the base of the shallow valley. The fields are only separated by narrow tracks, and these are alive with flying insects, hovering in swarms. You are walking along one of these tracks when suddenly you spot bandits ahead. They are wandering idly up the track towards you, their spears slung over their shoulders. Let me just see here if I can... There we go. Map of Celt. Stroll. The badge of rank. Up to the south. So we were there, that's Ruanon. So we basically went on the thing to the right, so we should be around here? No, that's the Macon Gorge. And we... Shallow Valley. Shallow Valley. You see, I want to say that we're over here, but my gut instinct tells me we're here because, you know, we went with the forest to the right. Not the forest to the left. If we're coming down from Rolon, that's what that represents. Unless it's based on this, in which case I went the wrong way. So yeah, I think we're over here. We're either over here or over here. Sadly, we don't possess the Onyx Medallion, which kind of worries me. But we have the Kaiser Splint of Camouflage and have reached the rank of Guardian or higher. Lifting your feet high, you step into the tall crops, taking care to part them first with your hands. You allow the stalks to close again behind your back before you crouch down and hold your breath. You've completely vanished from sight. It is as if the stalks have never been disturbed. The bandits amble past barely inches from where you hide, oblivious to your presence.
When you are sure they have gone, you emerge from the crops and hurry away. You bypass a village with orange wood cabins and stone walls and climb through the tall fields toward a wooden ridge. Beyond the ridge, you enter a thick forest and discover a bubbling freshwater stream. You drink deeply and realize how hungry you are. Luckily, we have a meal, so let's just eat one. As night falls, you reach the city of Macon. The gaunt, weed-infested ruins of the shattered city are spread like a vast graveyard and bathed in the eerie light of a near full moon. A sound fills the air like the wailing of lost souls. It is the cry of the Macon Gorge. So I was right, and that is where we were, on the left. It has been nearly 2 days since you last slept, and fatigue begins to overwhelm you. Drawing your kite cloak about your shoulders, you settle down to sleep. You will need all your strength for the daunting task that lies ahead. Dawn arrives, rain-swept and gloom-laden. A pall of drizzle hangs over the ghost city, and the gruesome discord of the wailing winds of Macon Gorge make you feel uneasy. You watch and wait, your kite cloak drawn close about your shoulders to keep out the chill, damp air. It was here during the age of the Black Moon that King Ulnar of Sommerlund killed the mightiest of the Dark Lords, Lord Vashnar. In mortal combat. Mortal combat! Doot, doot, doot. Fatality. Upon the very brink of the abyss, the Dark Lord was slain by the Summer Sword. It is said that his death cry when he fell with echo through the gorge until there he rises to wreak his vengeance on Sommerlund and the House of Ulnar. Your stomach contracts as the thought of this could be that very day. For 5 hours you observe and take in every detail of the ruined city. The first line of the strange verse keeps repeating itself in your mind. When the full moon shines over the temple deep, the temple must be underground, and there must be an entrance to it. But where? You study every crack in the broken ground and eliminate all but 2 possibilities. A crypt door guarded by 2 Vasigonian warriors, and a flight of marble steps descending into the earth beneath the columns' fractured pillars. So something guarded or something unguarded. Something guarded or something unguarded. I guess I'll just go with the full-on attack, because I think I will save, just in case. I'm going with the full-on attack. You manage to reach a tangle of briars growing near the crypt door, and from here you can observe the Vasigonian guards undetected. More soldiers appear on the horseback, riding into Macon from the north. They dismount and approach the door. Password, shout the crypt guards. Lon, reply the soldiers. The door opens, and they are allowed to enter. Armed with the password, you decide to try enter this in the same way. Keeping the hood of your cloak raised, and your somnolent features in shadow, you walk boldly towards the guards. Okay. We have the Kaiser's Spring of Camouflage, so we'll be able to add 4 to this number, for a total of 10. Meaning, I think we pass. Your bravado has paid off. The guards accept the password and allow you to enter the crypt. As the stone door is drawn shut, you find yourself in a wide, tortured corridor. You see, now if the game told you that you were going to spy on them a bit, you probably would choose that over the, unguarded path. It made it sound like you had to go in guns a-blazing. The corridor ends in a flight of steps that descends 100 feet into the earth. At the bottom, a short passage leads to a junction where a tunnel runs from the north to south. To the north, you can see a tortured cavern with what appears to be an observation slit carved into the wall. To the south, the passage leads towards a low balcony. Of course, now I'm wondering if I should have gone with the marble route, because there were probably some unique items I could pick up over there. Let's check tortured cavern. And we died, apparently. You have taken just 1 step into the cavern when a blow on the back of your head knocks you senseless. You are seen at the junction by 2 guards who prepare this ambush for you. Your equipment is taken and your unconscious body bound by Baraka's men, who throw you into a cell. You are unable to stop the sacrifice. When the time comes for your cell door to open, it is the bony hand of a skeleton that turns the key. Wow. Well, reload. And I will go the marble route now. The rain and the gloom hide your approach as you reach the marble stairs unseen. The steps are overgrown with mold and weeds, but a path has been trod through them, leading into the darkness of a huge underground vault. If you possess a torch, we don't, but we kept the fire sphere from Caverns of Cult. Remember that?
Yeah, bet you didn't think it would come in useful. You break open the two halves of your Carl Fire Sphere and hold the flaming hemisphere high as you advance deeper into the vault. You gasp as you spot a hideous black-skinned creature perched on the rail near the ceiling. Dull, satanic eyes follow you every move, and its mouth opens and closes, shouting silent curses. Suddenly it glides down its perches and attacks. Damn, we possess the Summer Sword. The creature is flooded by the golden light of your sword. A look of terror crosses its ghoulish face and it hurls itself upwards to avoid your sword blow. You brace yourself for another onslaught, but it never comes. Your silent attacker has escaped into the fissure in the ceiling. Sheathing your sword, you prepare to continue. You notice a low portal in the vault wall, leading to a long, narrow corridor. If you wish to leave the vault and attempt to divide it, no, we keep going. The corridor ends at a flight of steps that descend 100 feet into the earth. At the bottom, a short passage leads to a junction where a tunnel runs from north to south. To the north, you can see a torch-lit cavern with what appears to be an observation. Yeah, I'm not falling for this one again. An empty feeling grips your stomach as you stare upon the altar and inner sanctum of the subterranean temple. Your Kai senses burn as if every nerve in your body is screaming a warning to flee from this evil chamber. Huge braziers of molten metal encircle a black altar upon which lies fair Madeline, the daughter of Baron Vanderlund. She seems to be entranced. Her breathing is slow and shallow. Beyond the altar lie two massive doors, a gigantic skull engraved upon their black stone surface. Out of your view, another door opens, and a procession of red-cloaked priests enter the temple. Their heads are covered, and they each carry strange amulets of black stone. They file past the altar, depositing the amulets in a circle around the young girl's body, then file out again in total silence. Then you hear the sound of a distant drum beat. It grows louder and nearer. The measured steps of steel-shod boots resound in its wake. Baraka is approaching. Is that him? Looks like a vampire, for Christ's sake. Baraka carries the stench of death and decay about him. He strides into the... Maybe he is one. Jesus. He strides into the temple, his boots of Gorgas high covering both legs and feet, and slams shut the huge stone door with frightening ease. He stands in silence before pushing open the huge black doors engraved with the menacing skulls. Suddenly, a gale-force wind sweeps through the temple, and your ears are filled by a terrible scream. Beyond the open doors, a pier of stone juts into the abyss of Macon Gorge. You are staring into the chasm of doom itself. Baraka turns away from the windswept pier and walks slowly towards the altar. From a hidden scabbard, he removes the twisted black dagger and holds its stiletto blade to the light. An evil blue flame runs up and down the black steel spike, flickering in the ice-cold winds of Macon Gorge. The sacrifice is about to begin. Yeah, that's a dagger. If you wish to distract his attention from the altar with our target in turn to page 119. If you wish to draw your weapon... I want to just attack him because I assume there's people guarding this place and I want to see what he throws at me. We possess the Summer Sword, so this might not, this might work out. I think the Summer Sword is there to help you in case you do dumb shit. As you raise your golden sword, the howling wind seems to rise in pitch and intensity. It claws at your mind, filling your head with terrible images of death and horror. Baraka sees you falter and strikes a cruel blow that opens a wound in your cheek. We lose one endurance point, that's not gonna kill us. The sudden pain reawakens you to the presence of your enemy, and the combat begins. See, he's got 25, so he's no pushover, to be fair. And we're being attacked by a very powerful mind blast. Unless you possess the Kai Discipline of Mind Shield, your combat skill is reduced by 4 for the duration of this combat. Lucky for us, I picked that shit up. Yep, I picked that shit up indeed. So +2 because we are... we have a weapon skill in sword. +2 for shield, +8 for summer sword, +2 for dual wielding, and +2 for the summer helmet. Means we outclass this guy by 10. But, if rolls go badly, like a 0, fuck. That's the worst we... Or is that the best we could have done? Apparently that's the best we could have done. I didn't realize a 0 was good. I thought it was bad. Apparently a 0 counts like a 10. So yeah, that was the best roll we could have done. We instantly KO'd the fucker. Anticlimactic? Maybe.
As Baraka dies, the wind suddenly rises in pitch and intensity, filling the temple with a mournful cry of despair. You feel the chill and malevolent spirit of Dark Lord Vashna engulfing you in an icy embrace, but you sense that he is powerless to harm you. The sacrifice has been foiled. He is doomed to lament for a victory that might have been. Lying on the black temple floor is the dagger of Vashna. Yeah, I'll pick that up. Okay. Dagger of Vashna. We now possess the dagger of Vashna, guys. As you pick it up and tuck it into your belt, and we mark it, the evil blue flame flickers and dies. As long as you possess this evil blade, Dark Lord Vashna and his legion of dead warriors will remain imprisoned in the Chasm of Doom. Works for me. You free fair Madeline from the altar and carry her through the corridors of the temple that lead up to the surface. As you emerge into the moonlit ruins, an astounding sight greets your eyes. Baraka's warriors are running from the ghost city in all directions, closely pursued by an army of cavalrymen. The light of the full moon and the guttering torches that these horsemen carry illuminates the suncrest that bedecks their tunics. Word must have reached Homeguard, for they are the Sumlending army, led by King Ulnar himself. Well, I did send most of my men back, so your countrymen praise your courage and daring, their strident cheers drowning the cry of Macon Gorge, but once again you have proved yourself a true hero of Summerlund. As you deliver Madeline into the waiting arms of her father, his overwhelming joy fills you with a sense of great achievement. You are indeed worthy of the title Kai Lord. You have succeeded in your perilous quest, but the epic saga of Lone Wolf, Last of the Kai Lords, is far from complete. A new and deadlier challenge awaits you in Book 5 of the Lone Wolf series, entitled Shadow of the Sand. Well, that was a good book. Not, not as exciting as the first two, but, and not as, I would say, epic as... It's definitely the fourth book in terms of ranking. It's not as good as the other ones, but, it gives you you explore new land. Lots of instant death pits. I think that's why I didn't like it. That come out of nowhere. A few, instant death if random numbers are taken, which just suck in my opinion. But it made use of like the you take place in another battle, which we haven't done in a long time, and we get some use of some items which you thought probably we wouldn't have, like the fire sphere. But that's it for now. So tune in next time where we start Book 5, Shadow on the Sand. Until then.